So I bought the hard copy. And this will be the review for Disquiet Gods Book 6 in the Sun Eater series by Christopher Ruocchio. I'm going to say it's going to be mostly spoiler free. I might have to say a bit of spoilers, but if you would like actual spoiler talk about it and first reactions as I'm reading, I did the reading vlog. You can click right there or in the description down below if you want to watch through this and then come back and watch the reading vlog. That's highly recommended. Also, if you have not seen any of things about the Sun Eater, then probably instead you should actually go to this review for Empire of Silence, which is the first book in this series, and go read the series because it is awesome. Even if this book left me with a bit of feelings, mixed, confused. Where are we going? I'm Morgan, and this will be my review for this lovely book. Kind of first thoughts, it's only been 12 hours since I finished the book. We're going to try to do this though. The Sun Eater series, of course, is Lord Hadrian Marlowe's story to becoming the Sun Eater from leaving his home planet on Delos, if those people still haven't clicked away, until he becomes the Sun Eater that was mentioned in the first chapter of the very first book. And we are getting close to that because this is book 6 of 7. And this one takes place roughly 200-ish years after the events of book 5. The characters of this book, though, are of course Hadrian Marlowe. He is the main character whose POV we are seeing from the whole time. Side characters, though, that are of note, and they're the whole time pretty much, is his daughter Cassandra Marlowe. That's kind of awesome. She has been raised on Jad. She is a Jadian Maeskelos, which is a sword master. She could be an awesome character. Unfortunately, she did not get quite the development in the personality as much as I would like. You can see her though. You can see the Valka shining through her. Unfortunately, we don't know how learned she is. Besides being a sword master, part of that and seeing her determination and her inner strength and stuff like that came actually from the short story in Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 3, where you see through Cassandra's eyes. So you get this bit about her, and she has a bit of the stubborn Marlowe-ness. She will not be left behind. She tries to be there for her father, which, yeah. She is. She helps save him as much as he is, had to save her. More likely, she actually saved him several times when he was backed into a corner. To, her skills. Our other character that comes into this book is going to be Edward Albay. It's not spelled Edward, but it's kind of pronounced that way in the audiobook. And Albay is a descendant of a character that we would have met in another novella earlier on, and he comes from Delos. And him, I really wish he would have stood up to Marlowe more. That would have been better. He seems to be a very smart character. He has received imperial training. He's a member of Hapsis. So him and Marlowe can actually have the conversations that need to be had, and he does bring up points against Hadrian, or to try to make Hadrian think of this, but unfortunately it's never played fully through. He doesn't get to be the Lorian as much of this book, which could have been a good, him to have that stance, kind of like Lorian always would have against him. I was going to say something, but let's not say that. And another big antagonist is going to be the Monarch. The Monarch of Latara, which we've also seen in another short story. But Hadrian must go up against / work with the Monarch. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And where we end up because of that and all the craziness. But those are all the characters. Mostly, Hadrian is all Hadrian. And Hadrian is much older. He says he's 600 standard at this point. And he does react a little bit like an old man. You'll have complaints about his shoulder or his knees. It's weird that his shoulder aches when that was all regrown and technically younger than the rest of him. But It is. It's a thing. And he just doesn't have the reactions that he did when he was younger. And he also mentally, you know, he's tired. He doesn't want to keep fighting. He just wants peace and to be, you know, there, seeing Cassandra grow up, even though at this point she is like 40 standard. So a little bit older than he was when he left home in the first place. And all the things. And all the things. But let's move on into the plot, as I've already kind of said a little bit by saying who the characters that he has to work with is. I'm going to put the book down as we talk about the plot and show the Head of Zeus cover instead. I think this might be the European covers, maybe, UK covers, which are gorgeous, and it almost makes me want to get those instead. Especially now that my set's mismatched. Not the point. The plot of this book, though, taking place 200-ish years after Book 5, Hadrian has been on Jad under the care of the princes. He has his own house at the Volcano House near the fire school where they do train the sword masters. All of the dragon slayers have passed, you know, through their normal course of lives, as most of them were either plebeian or whatever that middle class was. They've passed, and in Hadrian's alone time, he didn't just want to be alone, so he commissioned the Jadian Council to make him a daughter, and Cassandra was born from him and Valka's genes that he had the phylactery. Those were minor spoilers. Minor, because it's all in early. Okay, moving on. He's been here on Jad, though, this whole time, and the Empire has known he's been on Jad, and has been, you know, trying to get to him, but not too hard. Now, though, with the Cielcen threat and the Lothrian army threat being so heavy, like so strong, we find out that a key planet has fallen to the Cielcen, and the Empire has sent a Hapsis delegation to Hadrian to specifically send him that call that the Emperor told him to look out for. And upon hearing that, and that they've been made away by the Jadians for like 3 years, but one of them just, you know, went to find Hadrian anyway. Upon hearing that, Hadrian decides, and he gets a message from Crispin, and he decides the Emperor has called. They said that they found the thing that I was meant to wait for, and my time has come. There was a bit more that pushed him into that, and into the leaving Jad, and some threats, human and otherwise. But Hadrian and Cassandra set off from Jad to go along with this Hapsis mission, and we get to spend some time on another planet with things happening that go above and beyond anything that we have seen happen in the books with the Quiet. And yet that's not the end. We're maybe at the halfway point, and we continue on to Forum. And then, as I said, we have to deal with the Monarch. And the biggest human delegation that's ever happened of all of the human leaders of all of the different factions are trying to come together and work out terms of how to work together, even, because of the Lothrian and Cielcen threat. And everything from that point on is a little bit crazy. And a bit of information of, well, what is really true. The pacing would be my next point to talk about, as in the last book, Ashes of Man, I talked about how it felt slower to me. Even when things would happen, it still, overall, it had a slower build up to start and action sequence and then talkie points. This one was a lot of go. From the time we left Jad, there was a lot of happening. Sure, on the second stop there wasn't action so much. It was more political and talking, moving around things. But then things were happening, and it was just a lot of moving pieces were happening at once. And something extremely crazy happened. And we move on. And we have more politically-ness. It was so much. And I kind of think he was trying to almost pull off a Sanderlanche at the end. I don't think he stuck the landing with that. It was just maybe a little too much there. But the pacing The pacing is kind of fast. We're going a lot. So much is happening in this book. With the so much happening, there's something that, as this is a book written by a future point of view about the past, there has been instances, of course, of him putting in a commentary, kind of foreshadowing. And I generally don't mind it. For most of the books, it's been fine. In some of the books, it's even been like less than others. In this one though, it was, whoa. We were a little bit too much, and some of the times that it would happen, it was completely unnecessary, and it's things we didn't need to know. I specifically speak about around Princess Celine, how his future self commented, like when she was going and they were separating at that point, and the future self's commentary on that. No. Come on, dude. That didn't have to be said. And about the alliance forming. These were not needed things. Sure, they, give perspective, I guess, but they also completely kind of ruin it. Then what is generally my favorite part? Yeah, okay, let's just do this. Of these books or any fantasy parts, is the world building. But for this one, let's call it the history and lore and world building. And I don't know anymore what is the real history, as we said a little bit ago, because there was so much what has been hinted at through the whole series, what we have seen sprinkles of, what we thought we uncovered. Throw it against the wall, because there is just so much more in this book, and some of it you want to consider truth, and okay, this part probably is supposed to be accurate because you are seeing it directly from one of these beings. However, then a little while later there is another kind of view of it, so you have to ask, what is the truth? And you feel like you know the truth. You feel like you are given, like they answer that question and say yes, like this is yes, but. And then more specific to our own Earth history though, we find out a very key piece about the Foundation Wars, kind of. And it's from a perspective that should kind of be trusted, because it is an old enough to be their perspective, but it contradicts something that we have been told this entire time. So what is the truth? Because is this only what they believe because this is what they were told, and this is like this narrow view they saw? And so confused about that. And like I said, I know that's not what everybody's going to hang up on. They're more so about the character and what's happening in the now of the universe and the metaphysicaliness of the quiet that is dominating this book. I don't even think I have a spoiler section because I can't think of a thing to say specifically. I've accidentally said a few things through this, but they weren't like major things. One of the good characters does get to come back and make an appearance. I don't like how we left it off at the end though. I don't like how that left off at the end at all. Oh right, one more note before the camera overheats. Where are my lexicons? Where are my things at the back of this book? It just has a timeline of Hadrian Marlowe's life. All of the other ones have had other things, like world, persona dramatis, whatever, glossary, lexicon. I don't remember if the lexicon and the glossary is the same. Where are all my things? The timeline's kind of cool because it goes like over the whole thing. It goes from this book and this book, except only the ones involving Hadrian, pretty much. Because I noticed the novella from right before here, Dregs of Empire, is not in there. But it does mention something else that I've never read before, and I wonder where that is. It's probably going to be in volume 2, and I was like, what? Okay, so the rating for this book, when I put it through CallPile, it said it was a 4.5. I don't feel that it's a 4.5. I also don't feel that it's a 5. So we're somewhere in that range, but I'm not doing the quarter stars this year, but still it's somewhere between those two realistically for me, because there were problems which is why I can't say 5 stars. But I did say 5 stars for Ashes of Man, so I'm very conflicted right now. Very conflicted. Maybe once I have my whole written review done, I can more definitively agree or disagree with what the spreadsheet said. Because I'm still confused with the ending. Not like it wasn't confusing, but I'm just left feeling weird, I guess, about the ending of the book. It was a machine, and nope, shut up, Maureen. There were just things, and the end of the book, and it is just nuts, and I know there's only one more book, and that is crazy. I wonder if there'll be another novella. I kind of hope so, actually. I hope that the characters that we are with will be more given, and I hope Hadrian will be, it's hard to say I want him to be his old self, because he has grown, and he is older, and he deserves to be, you know, wiser. But yeah, let's be wiser. Let's not be reserved. Let's not be this either. If you have read the book, let me know your thoughts on it. How are you feeling here at the end and with the things that went through this book? And if you haven't, I still highly recommend you read this series. It is still one of my top series because it's just overall amazing. I really hope you enjoyed this video. You're going to subscribe. Check out the spoiler vlog for all the first thoughts. I've done it for every book. And now we have to wait here for the next one. I'll be okay. I hope you're finding something awesome to read today, and I'll see you in the next one.